Hello and welcome. I should make that the intro.
Hello and welcome to the Corner 3 NBA show. My name is Alex.
My name is Zach.
And we are live here from the Corner 3 show studio. And this is our NBA show, of course. If you want to listen to our Pacers show, it's probably just below or just up above this one on your iTunes feed or wherever you watch or listen to us.
Or YouTube.
Yeah. But let's get right into it. So we've got some, big news in the NBA this week. Really just picking up. But LeBron James and Charles Barkley are in a little bit of a feud, I'd say.
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, I don't know who you're siding with on this, but
we're taking sides now.
Well, I mean, I figured you would have an opinion on who you.
Oh, I definitely have an opinion, but let's hear first. Let's do some background. Do some background first.
So the background on it is when LeBron made his comments last week that they needed another playmaker. Basically, Barkley chimed in and called him, what did he say?
He said a whiner, complainer, all of the above.
Because the Cavs have done everything they could. To get him players. They went and got Korver. They got, they went and signed Love. I mean, they did all this stuff, and now he's complaining that he says they don't have anything. So basically, Barkley called him out.
I'll give you the quote here. It's inappropriate, whiny, all of the above. The Cavs, they have given him everything he wanted. They have the highest payroll in NBA history. He wanted J.R. Smith last summer. They paid him. He wanted a Shumpert last summer. They brought in Kyle Korver. He's the best player in the world. Does he want all of the good players? He don't want to compete. He is an amazing player. They're the defending champs. And earlier last summer on Bill Simmons' show, Barkley said that James would never ascend to the top 5 status. So this has been an ongoing thing.
Yeah. And, LeBron made some comments basically saying, because Barkley's always said, when I play, me and Jordan weren't friends. We were sort of chit-chatting and going on banana boats together and doing all this stuff. And
banana boats.
And LeBron basically called him out and said, if you watch the '93 finals, you'll see you'll see Barkley laughing with Jordan at the free throw line and doing all this stuff. He was, don't tell me you guys weren't friends then and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And said basically there's a new sheriff in town. Basically, he's not going to hold back anymore.
Yeah, he is tired of it. He called him a hater. LeBron has never been one to, just like our guy Paul George has never been shy to talk to the media about how he feels about a certain topic. So where do you stand on this? I mean, I think there people are choosing LeBron or Barkley. I think that you can choose both here in a way. But let's hear your thoughts first.
I mean, I understand LeBron's point of all right, he's always talking smack about me. But it's part of his job as a TV analyst. He's got to say something to get some attention. LeBron even says probably for ratings, in the past, not this past weekend. But I'm more so on Barkley's side just because he's got a point. I mean, you're sitting there, you need a playmaker, all this and that. I mean, you've got the highest payroll in the NBA. You got Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, Kyle Korver. And you're the defending champs. I mean, I know Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, but you got to compete at some point.
Yeah. And I mean, he's playing, actually, I think it's close to the most minutes in the NBA right now. So I put that on Ty Lue for playing LeBron way too many minutes, for not trying to play these younger guys with veterans so that, they don't lose some of these big leads. I mean, last night they lost to the Mavs, which are one of the worst teams in the West. Yogi putting up 19-5 against Kyrie and Harrison Barnes and Wesley Matthews and Seth Curry, not Steph Curry, Seth Curry, beating the defending champs. So they've got some issues there, but it's within the roster. It's not the roster itself.
And they're trying to fix it. Obviously, they have workouts going for Lance Stevenson, Kirk Heinrich,
and Chalmers. So they're looking. I mean, and that tells me right there. I guarantee you, if LeBron doesn't say we need a backup point guard, that they're not going to bring in Kirk Heinrich. He's 36. He last played last May. I mean, come on now. I mean, Chalmers coming off ACL, I think, and Lance coming off major hip surgery. I mean, they're doing this to appease LeBron. It's pretty obvious, I think.
I honestly don't know if they would sign any of the three. I mean, would you, Heinrich?
Why would you? I mean, the only person I can think of out of that would be Chalmers, just because he can run the offense. He's not a bad shooter.
And Lance isn't a point guard.
No, I can't even imagine Lance joining the Cavs. But watch that happen. I mean, who knows? But you explain how I kind of think how you think on this. It's Barkley's job. That's his personality. It's not like it's, Kenny Smith saying this. It's Charles Barkley. I mean, he's one of the most eccentric commentators in the sport.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's terrible. That's just terrible.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, LeBron has his right to speak up, and he's probably tired of everyone talking. And, I mean, it is a different age. You can only imagine what it was like if Twitter was around when Barkley was playing. I mean, he'd probably be kicked out of the NBA by now. But, it's one of those things that'll pass here in a few days. But still, I think it's interesting that, you've got the defending champ and the best player in the NBA, in my opinion, obviously frustrated. They went 7-8 in January, and he's concerned with, his head is focused on Charles Barkley and what he's saying about him. So obviously they've got some issues there, but I think they'll be fine in the end.
I bet Steph Curry and them are like, oh, LeBron's he's worrying about us. He went 7-8. We've only lost 7 games all year.
I know. And Celtics got to be looking at this saying, they're only 2 games behind Cleveland for the 1 spot, and if Boston makes a move, who knows? They could take that East spot to the finals, and who knows? They've had some success against the Warriors. I'm not trying to predict that or anything. Just saying.
It would be nice to see a different finals matchup going on.
You wouldn't want to see the round 3 of Cleveland? Golden State?
I'm not going to complain. Obviously, I'd root for the Cavs because I can't stand the Warriors. But
yeah,
it'd be nice to see Brad Stevens. That'd be cool in the NBA Finals.
I love to see Kerr versus Stevens and all the different matchups and what they do as far as game planning. I love to see that matchup.
Because that'd be a coaching battle, unlike Kerr versus Lou. It'd be Kerr versus Stevens.
Yeah, I'd love to see Thomas take it at Curry too, though. That would be fun.
Oh yeah. Besides, the Cavs having their issues with Barkley or LeBron, we also talked about a little bit in our Pacers talk. The Bulls.
Bulls BS. That's what I labeled it.
Bulls BS. Obviously, I forget who the loss was to, but Jimmy Butler and Dwayne Wade didn't have good things to say about some teammates. Jimmy Butler said, "If you don't come in,
this MFer.
Yeah, pissed off every game, any game. If you're not pissed off that you lost, something is wrong. This is your job. This is what you're supposed to do, or love to do."
And then Wade comes in the same night after the loss, said, "This loss hurts more than younger players, and that shouldn't be the case. I don't know if people care enough." And, I liked when I actually heard Jimmy Butler say this. I actually like when, your leader comes out and kind of calls guys out. But then the Rondo post happened there, and it was a picture of Rondo, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. Everyone's heard about it by now. We're talking about leadership and how that those guys on the Celtics knew leadership and how you don't call people out like that. Mm-hmm. Jerry and Grant liked it, up guarding the Bulls. The Felicio guy liked it.
Dwayne Wade liked it.
Dwayne Wade liked it. So you've got some weird drama there. And then the next day, the media's ready to interview people for practice. Gar Forman, their GM, comes out, reads a statement, doesn't take any questions, and everyone's acting like everything's just fine. Obviously, things are not just fine in Chicago.
No, because that next game, I think Jimmy Butler had 3 points.
They both get benched to start the game. Yeah,
Dwayne Wade was like 3 of 17 or something. They played terrible.
Yeah, Butler was. Yeah, it's just bad. But go ahead.
I was going to bring up now that all this is going on, and you think, oh, Jimmy Butler, he's the younger guy, he's the leader of the team, he's our young superstar. I've heard that there's discussions have heated up again between them and Boston now that all this has come out.
The Bulls, before the season, when I looked at this roster, having 3 of the worst 3-point shooters in the league who happen to be stars on the same team didn't make any sense. I mean, they've given Hoiberg the worst roster to do what they hired him to do, which is pace and space in his 2 years in Chicago. And, you can't get mad at him for all this falling apart. I mean, you've got Dwayne Wade, who's a top 5 shooting guard of all time. Yep. You've got Jimmy Butler, who's one of the superstars in this league. And you've got a guy in Rondo who's been on 3 teams here in the past year because, his attitude is bad, and he hasn't been the same player since he tore his ACL in Boston.
It's a bad team. It's a bad team. And the smartest move they made was not resigning Joakim Noah. I mean, that's the only thing you can point to.
Worst contract in the NBA right now.
I mean, but you bring out the point. They have players for a system that's not meant for that.
Exactly.
Rondo, he hasn't been good like that.
Rondo sigh.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say for that because he's just not that. I mean, he's not the same player he used to be.
Well, if he gets waived now, and I think I heard it on Zach Lowe's show. who picks him up? Why would you pick up Rajon Rondo in this day and age in the league? I mean, unless you had a set roster in which you only needed a guy to get the scores of the ball and to play pretty good defense, I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. He can't shoot the ball, and teams just clog up the paint when he's on the court.
He clogs up the paint, can't shoot. He still plays decent defense. He's not the same defensive guy before he got hurt with Boston, but he's a cancer for the team. Like every team he's been on, like he's only there a year.
Yeah.
Ever since he left Boston, I don't know if it's because Boston he had Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, and Kevin Garnett to kind of straighten him out.
Yeah.
He was younger in the league. He's not gonna. You're not a guy second or third year in the league coming in to tell Kevin Garnett what to do.
Exactly.
But now that he's a veteran, he might have an attitude.
Got more attitude. Yeah. Exactly. It'll be interesting to see what happens here. I don't expect them to trade anyone. The biggest roster move I can see them making is waiving Rondo, and I'm surprised actually they haven't by now because I think the Cavs would probably pick him up, and that kind of segues into our next point here. Melo trade talk. I just saw on Twitter earlier this afternoon that Melo would only accept a trade if his family felt it was right. Some weird things coming from New York. Obviously, they've had some awful tough losses. Losing in 4 overtimes, losing on buzzer beaters, losing when coaches whisper in Courtney Lee's ear. Just some weird stuff around New York right now.
You don't know what's going on because, well, for one, you don't hear from Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
And then you got his family saying, well, he even said, I want my son to be, grow up in New York, see what it's like. My wife's got, all these things she does here.
Yeah.
I like it here. But the problem is you see all these trade targets that they have. Well, the Cavs aren't going to give up Kevin Love for him.
Mm-hmm.
But then they want to talk to the Celtics. They want to talk to the Clippers. But they're not including any of the big three on any of these teams. It's all role players. So what does Phil Jackson do? If you're going to trade him, you're not getting anything of value in return.
Yeah, I mean, I think the rumor was, or the report was, that if they were going to trade Melo to the Clippers, that the Knicks wouldn't take CP3, DeAndre, or Blake. Yeah. So what are you getting back for that? I mean, I know Simmons had a whole podcast about Carmelo Anthony potential trades. It just doesn't make any sense. This franchise has no backbone. It looks like Porzingis is actually, falling behind rather than progressing this year. It's weird. It's such a weird team.
They're built weird. Porzingis needs to be the superstar. They need to build around him. But the problem is when you're building around him for the Melo trade, well, you're not getting anything that's going to help him out.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? Sign J.J. Redick? I mean, trade for Redick and Crawford, 2 guys in their mid-30s who maybe have 2-3 years of good basketball left. It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
And they signed Joakim Noah to like a 4-year, $60 million deal. Worst contract in the NBA. But yeah. We've kind of covered those points there. So the All-Star rosters came out. We made our picks earlier on last week's show. No real snubs in the East, I'd say, but the West has definitely been a topic. Actually, with all these other stories going on, it really hasn't been a topic, but Conley and CP3 both don't make the team. Lillard doesn't as well, but DeAndre Jordan does. Your thoughts on that?
It's stupid that DeAndre Jordan made it. Who was it? Someone said if DeAndre Jordan was on the Milwaukee Bucks, nobody would know who he is. Was that Barkley?
Probably. I mean, he'd be like the JaVale McGee of the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, just someone, he has a good dunk here and there. He's a good player.
He's a good player, but he literally, besides dunking and blocking shots, he does nothing.
Yeah.
Like, Chris Paul sets him up for everything.
Yeah.
Or it's a missed shot, he dunks it.
Oh, if he doesn't have Chris Paul, he's done.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why he's in it. I don't know if that wasn't fan vote. That was coaches, right?
That's all coaches right there.
I don't understand. Like, I can understand Chris Paul. Maybe he's not having like a superstar year. You can argue Lillard or Conley over DeAndre Jordan any day.
Yeah. Well, I thought, first of all, that they'd give the spot to CP3 because he actually has had a really good year, but then he's injured, so then they give it to Conley. But to give it to DeAndre is kind of like, without even naming CP3 an all-star, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think there was more politics involved there more than anything else.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, there's got to be something going on behind the scenes for him to get in. I don't know what it is, but that was the one outlier. Why is DeAndre Jordan in there? He's not an all-star.
But other than that, the rosters are set. Again, the all-star weekend there in mid-February. A little local flavor, though. It's kind of got some national attention, too. Yogi Ferrell got picked up by the Dallas Mavericks just a couple days ago. Flies over from Long Island to San Antonio, or to Dallas first.
To Dallas, yeah.
And They play the Spurs the next night. He starts. They get the win in San Antonio. And keep in mind, as Rick Carlisle said last night, they are an absolute crap team. And he didn't use the word crap, but they're an underrated crap team. But Yogi starts with all the usual starters against the Spurs, has 0 turnovers, has a great game, and then a back-to-back plays the Cavs, has 19 and 5 and 4, outplays Kyrie Irving, and has the 2 game-finishing buckets for them at the end of the game. It's pretty fun to watch.
It's good to see him get his chance finally. Yeah. I know it's only a 10-day contract, but if
Looks
you're
like
a team that's
another one, yeah.
17 and 30, and you have a guy who's showing you something, he's a young guy, he's a rookie, why wouldn't you sign him for the rest of the year? See what he can do for you, because you're not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So, for all you know, you sign him for the rest of the year. You know you're going to be bad. You're going to get a good draft pick. If you find out, this guy can play, maybe he can be the starter. He can definitely be our backup. Maybe we don't waste a draft pick on a point guard in the draft. We can get something else.
Yeah.
It's good to see what your options are, because what your options are right now is Seth Curry. And Seth Curry's been in the league long enough for everybody to know.
I mean, he's starting for them, and he's not really a point guard. He's really just like a scoring guard at this point. But, Cuban came out and said, why don't we just sign even more Indiana guys? Because, of course, Cuban went to IU. I don't know. I think how this usually would work is that he gets another 10-day contract because that's cheapest for them. Mm-hmm. And then before that 10-day expires, I wouldn't be surprised if they give him a 2-year deal with the rest of this year guaranteed. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, wouldn't be.
It would be fun to see that.
So after we move on from that, obviously we're going to take a look at the standings. Obviously Cleveland's still on top, even though they've got, 7 and 8 in their last 15 games. Yeah. Boston's coming up on their heels, and then the Washington Wizards have been streaky lately. 5th place in the Eastern Conference.
8-2
in the last 10. Of course, if you move the Western Conference, nothing's really changed there. It's pretty much the same. Maybe you flip-flop a game or so between the Nuggets and the Trailblazers for the 8th seed, but other than that, nothing's really changed in the past week for the NBA standings.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're finding teams where we thought they would be before the season. Minnesota, actually, though, they are 8-2 in their last 10 after last night's win. They've been playing really well and kind of what we thought. We've been talking about the Timberwolves all season long and how we thought that they could be a team to make a run because of the athletes they have, but also the coach that they hired in Tibbs. Yeah, I'll be interested to see. I think the top 7, that's pretty solidified. Who gets that 8th spot? The Lakers, 2-8 in their last 10. I think they have I think it's top 3 or top 5 protected picks. So I think they're finally realizing that they just need to tank and get that pick this year. Yeah, that'd be pretty stupid to try and make a run here. Phoenix is really bad, although Marquise Chris, I don't know if you've seen some of his dunks recently, the rookie from Washington, he's a beast.
He's pretty good.
He's a beast.
All right. Well, as you all know, we do our TNT predictions coming
stuff.
Up tonight, right?
No. It was last night was the first round.
It's okay. We were here yesterday, but
it's okay. Let's just go straight to Thursday the main night. TNT night. The main TNT night.
We have the Hawks at the Rockets, and then Golden State at the Clippers.
And keep in mind, CP3 still out. Blake's back, though. And just the last week, they think Golden State beat the Clippers by like 40 or 50. It was bad.
It was 45 or so. It was ugly.
It was ugly. Atlanta at Houston. Who do you got here? Let's break this down a little bit, too, since we have, this is the NBA show. So let's break down this matchup a little bit.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the Rockets.
Yeah.
Just because it's James Harden. He had a bad game against the Pacers. He's an MVP candidate. He's been playing awesome lately. That was the first time I've seen him really play bad lately.
This whole year.
The Pacers.
Yeah.
Home game for them. They'll want to get back in the groove of things after that loss. And Atlanta, they're just a confusing team. Halfway through the season, they're wanting to trade everybody. Well, now they're not trading anybody. And, I know they're 4th in the East, but it doesn't seem like you don't hear nothing about them. There's no hype around them. They traded Corver away, so
a well-coached team, a team that plays well together within their offense. Millsap, another all-star year for him, plays just really, really, really good basketball without the flashy skill. He's kind of an old-school power forward there who can still stretch out and shoot the 3. Again, I got Houston too. I just think that the Pacers kind of got them. Maybe not even at a good time, but the Pacers just played well and beat them. And I just think Houston has too much firepower for the Hawks.
So both got Houston.
Looking at Golden State, LAC there. Who you got?
Golden State.
Oh, Golden State, yeah.
Yeah.
We're not even going to talk about it. Golden State has owned the Clippers for 4 or 5 years now.
Well, like you said, Chris Paul's out. They lost by over 45 points the last game.
Not good.
They're just. I mean, have you heard anything about Blake Griffin this year? Usually he's like on SportsCenter every night.
Well, he was injured, but still, I love to see them use him in more of a ball dominant role, especially with Chris Paul out. I think it was, again, Zach Lowe made the point that, Blake is at his best when the ball's in his hands, and maybe when CP3 is on the court with him, he doesn't play as well because CP3 is a ball-dominant guard, but he's one of the best ball-dominant guards of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll be interested to see if the Clippers make a move because this is the last year of it. They've even said this is the last year, and they're not going anywhere this year. I mean, no. They're really not.
Unless they pull a trade out of their butt, it's not happening. So I got the Golden State Warriors.
All right. And then for the corner 3 this week, we've got top current players.
I did current players.
Yeah, top current players that haven't won a championship that are superstars.
Guys that can't get done, basically.
Yeah.
We going one by one or?
Let's start with number 3 and then work your way up. So like number 3 is, or number 1's like your best player to not win a championship currently.
You mean like, here's how I view it. I have it ranked as, I guess it's kind of the same way. Mine's more of like dogging them than it is like.
Oh, okay.
Good. But
my number 3 is Melo. Out of college, he wins a national championship as a freshman. Really tough thing to do. Has all this talent and promise in Denver's first few years, making all-star teams. Was right there with LeBron as far as hype. But, goes to New York, demands a trade out of Denver, goes to New York, never really allows a team to blossom, takes the big contract, flirts with going to Houston and the Clippers during that one off season. But just has never really been able to play on a team that's been really good. I think his most successful team was the year that the Pacers knocked them out of the semifinals, and the Pacers were like 6th, and they were the 3rd or something. Yeah. So, Melo, he's obviously a great talent, but I just don't think he's ever really put himself in a position to win in the NBA a championship.
We had it swapped. I had him as the number 1, just because, not because of talent, just because of, like you said, he wanted the trade. He made a big deal, wants to be in New York, wants all the spotlight, but yet he has never carried a team to to the finals. He has never done anything to garner
even the conference
the
finals.
Yeah. So I had him as my number 1. Number 2 is I had Chris Paul.
Okay.
Because I don't think Chris Paul's ever made even the conference finals.
No, he's never made the conference finals.
So there's a guy that's a great player, but he has never been able to lead his team to a championship, conference finals, or anything.
Yeah.
They've always, I think, what was it, like 2 years ago? They got knocked out in the first round,
Yeah, they had that year, I think it was 2 years ago, actually, where they beat the Spurs, who were the team that they could never get over the hump of, and then they lose to the Rockets, who actually weren't playing that well out of nowhere. I had Chris Paul. He's my number 1. We're kind of getting out of order here. It's all good. But Chris Paul, I just think, for him, I don't blame him as much as I blame Melo for the fact that he hasn't gotten there. I think you look at Chris Paul's teams, they've always had 2 or 3 missing pieces. And they've never been able to find that 3, that small forward in Los Angeles. But also the West is obviously much tougher than the East as far as the playoffs. Those top 7 in the West right now, all really, really, really good teams.
That's probably the reason why I had Carmelo Anthony as my number 1, just because he's been in the Eastern Conference. He demanded these things. He wanted all the money, and he hasn't done jack crap with it. So,
tell us how you really feel, Zach.
I can't.
Who's your last person?
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard. Oh, oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, he went to 1 Eastern Conference Finals, I think.
And 1 Finals, yeah.
Yeah, and 1 Finals, and he and that was like his early in his Magic career, but he's never done anything since then to get back to or win a title. I mean, he got traded. He went to Houston. He went to Lakers. Now he's with Atlanta. He's always had this crazy amount of attention. He wants to be Superman, the best big man in the league, and he's just never lived up to it ever since that finals.
I actually like that angle though, because when he was with the Magic and then right before he got to Los Angeles, I mean, he was the most dominant big man in the league. He was like the next Shaq. I mean, Shaq even would give that to him.
Yeah.
That he was Superman. And he kind of just fell up the map there. He had some injuries, but, with that finals run and then the next few years after that when he won all those Defensive Player of the Year awards, he was like the NBA big man.
Oh, yeah.
And he kind of fell off there. Mine was KD. I think Kevin Durant, we're going to look back as far as his talent and just say he's a unicorn. There will never be another Kevin Durant ever. A 7-foot, small forward who can dribble and handle it and move like a point guard. If he doesn't win NBA championship, which I think he will this year, unfortunately, but if he doesn't, I think it'll be one of the biggest NBA superstar to never win a championship.
Oh, definitely. The only reason why I didn't have
the talent level is just nuts.
Yeah.
With him, and the ability and just the freakish nature of his game and his body just is enough for me to say if he doesn't win one, then that's just amazing to me. It just blows my mind.
Well, that's probably the reason why I didn't have him on my list, just because I was like, he's still he's still in his 20s. He's playing on the Warriors right now. Never won. They'll probably win it this year, but Carmelo Anthony is to Ross's Ron Artest. Like, he just annoys the crap out of me.
To those listeners who haven't listened to our Pacers show, Ross
cannot stand Ron Artest.
Ross cannot stand Ron Artest.
And I can't stand Melo. It kills me.
All right. But other than that, thanks for watching the show. You can follow us on Facebook.
On Facebook. Are we? No. Facebook, Instagram. We're also on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and also on YouTube. So feel free to subscribe to any of those channels and like us and tell us about your friends.
Like and review, and look out for our post-game reports. We're going to start adding a lot more content to our Twitter, to our Instagram, have some more pods with some guests on soon. We'll have guests on very, very, very soon. Maybe even a Butler basketball hoops pod coming up here in the next few days, so look out for that. We're just trying to expand our little TC3S network over here. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you soon.
Peace.